stop. Today's pretty modest, actually.
Okay, we are
Usually
ready
it's like
for you.
every finger, every half finger.
I love
Did you
it.
hear me?
Maybe just
I
along the
did.
fingertips. More bracelets. It's too much. I'm like weighed down.
10 pounds heavier.
Yeah.
All right, you ready to go?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
so I'm just going to go right into it because we have the regular intro, right? Okay.
I look at you, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. Because I always feel weird being like, oh, hi. Well, what I do when I'm like, I can't do.
It's all us. Just one long, fun conversation.
Nice, okay.
All right, here we go. So, Andra, we're so excited to have you on the show.
Happy to be here.
This is such an exciting moment for you. You're a Grammy-nominated artist, Best R&B Performance, Best R&B Album, and you're performing on Monday.
Yes.
I mean, what must be going through your mind right now?
I have a lot of work to do. No, but I'm grateful. I'm very grateful for everything that is happening and for all of the people who believed enough in me as an artist in this project to say, hey, I'm going to take a chance on her, for Ken Ehrlich, for, just loving the song and believing in it and saying, I'm going to put you on the show, out of everyone else he could have put on the show, to be able to believe enough to do that is really, it's just gratitude.
How do you prepare for music's biggest stage?
Oddly enough, in myself and with my band, the same way we would prepare for another show. You kind of, whether it's the Grammy stage or whether it's a tour, you want to do well every single time. You know what I mean? And so just a lot of rehearsal and praying and just releasing some of the nerves and you're remembering you're here for a reason. So
you've been thrown into the spotlight recently.
Yes.
How has that changed your life?
It's funny. I feel like people always expect, I'm like, oh, it's crazy. I can't go any. No, it's cool. I was gonna say, for myself, I don't know. I'm not too aware of that, of how, I'm aware of all of the opportunities and the things that have happened and how the project has grown, but it hasn't really impeded on my life in that way. So I'm pretty grateful for that, and I'm hoping that can maintain a little bit.
Hold on one sec. I got a mic coming out of your head.
Me?
Yeah, we're gonna.
Oh, right. Mm-hmm.
There we go.
Oh, it's gonna fall.
Bye.
Oops.
Might be better that it's down.
There.
Yeah, so those boom stands are kind of tricky.
There we go.
Wonderful.
Okie doke.
All right, we'll go back into it then.
Okay.
Do we need to redo that? Was it?
Can I get it again? Because I did not like that mic. Just
Yep.
that
Okay.
one question.
Sure. So you've been thrown into the spotlight recently. How has that changed your life?
It hasn't changed it too much. I mean, I'm busier, obviously. I'm working constantly, but it hasn't impeded on my personal life in that way. I'm aware of all of the accomplishments and the opportunities and things that are happening, but it hasn't, inconvenienced me in any way. I'm happy to be doing what I'm doing, so yeah.
Let's go back to the beginning. When you first knew you wanted to be in the music industry, did that young woman imagine this moment for you?
I think when I was young, I always wanted to do this. I always wanted to be in entertainment. It was like, do I want to do musical theater or do I want to be a recording artist? And so, I always believed, okay, it'll be big someday and do it, but not this way. This is definitely different, going to the White House. I never imagined that would happen. I don't know that I imagined I would travel to DC, let alone, be invited to perform for the president and the first lady. And so I didn't imagine it would happen this way. I didn't imagine in this timing as well too, but it's so much better than what I thought it would have been or could have been.
Tell us about your big break.
Well, so, I've been doing this for a very, very long time, so people are always like, oh, he's overnight. I'm like, no, it's like 13 years to be an overnight success. But really my big break actually came with, I had been working and doing music and trying to make it, for a while, but there was like this manager, producer I was working with, and it was not a very good experience, but I stay positive,
Learning experience.
Exactly. That's exactly how I look at it. And I think all of that stuff sort of creates you, molds you, and gives you a story. But the silver lining from the situation was that there was a clip of me singing. I sang in front of a storefront in a strip mall in Malibu. And Stevie Wonder and Kai Mila, his wife at the time, got a hold of the clip. They heard it, and she said she liked it. She played it for Stevie. He liked it. And so they reached out. The guy I was working with at the time to call and say, hey, we're interested in working with you. And so it was just crazy. I was in this tiny apartment with my mom in Chula Vista, San Diego, and you know, this legend. I tell people it felt like a meteor just came and crashed onto my house. It was crazy. And so I'm just on the phone with, you know, Stevie, part of who's molded me into the artist that I am. And he's talking about writing music and astrology, and it didn't work out at the time because of the person that I was, you know, working with. And I think artists all have these sort of horror stories. I don't want to call them sob stories, but horror stories. But fortunately, like a year and a half later, they held on to my information and reached out to me to say, hey, we're still interested. And I was like, wow. And so he introduced me to the producer, Adrian Gervitz, who I ended up doing the album with. And, like, that's how everything got kicked off. It was crazy. Yeah, it's amazing.
I've seen an interview of him talking about you, and he just adores you and
Oh,
adored
that's my
working
guy.
with you.
That's my guy.
What a pleasure to work with someone,
He's incredible. It's someone that passionate. And it's so funny because I tell people, you know, we were in the studio for months, you know, so we just, once we actually, you know, did the deal, we just threw ourselves into the studio and we just, months, just sat there and worked together. You know, he'd play piano, I'd start singing, writing lyrics, and it was the most organic process, you know, and he was just, to work with somebody who's equally as passionate about the project as you are is first of all rare, you know, but someone who's passionate and willing to put themselves, you know, fully engulf themselves in this project is incredible. And on top of that, Adrian, he has this musical knowledge, this depth to him because he's done so much. You work, you know, Buddy Miles, Ginger Baker, Jimi Hendrix, you know, to Whitney Houston, you know, so just he's worked with so many people. So to have that knowledge in the studio while I'm working was just invaluable, you know.
And the album, Cheers to the Fall, fantastic. And in
Thank
fact,
you.
your first music video, if I understand right, Forever Mine, was directed by Spike Lee.
Yes.
What was that experience
That
like?
was amazing, honestly. I couldn't, you know, first of all, I'm just so grateful to him for believing and, you know, just putting it on his shoulders, just to volunteer, you know, not like he's shooting all the time, not like he has a million different things to do, but to carve time out of his schedule to make this project happen was just incredible. He actually saw me singing at Sundance Film Festival, and which was an amazing event. I was in the lineup with Erykah Badu, you know, Common, Leon Bridges, that's when we first met, Kate Davis, Aloe Black, and
Wow.
and he heard me sing Mississippi Goddamn, and he loved it and said, you know, you working on an album? I said, yeah, you know, we're finishing it up, getting ready to put it out. He said, well, who's doing the first video? He just kind of looked at me like this, and I was like, you, right? Yeah. I was like, are you offering? And so, you know, he gave me his information, and then he told me that he was willing to do it. I reached out to him when he got to LA. I said, you still interested? And he was like, absolutely. And so we moved forward and shot it at the Standard. It was amazing. He's a really, I mean, you already know he's a fantastic director.
Well, I guess while we're on the who's who you've worked with, so you recently toured with Lenny Kravitz.
Yes.
And in fact, the photographer Matthew Baton in our show had photographed you.
Yes.
What was it like being on tour with Lenny?
Being on tour with Lenny, first of all, it was incredible because that was my first tour. So to be on such a big bill for my first tour was a little intimidating, I think, at first, you know. But he's so welcoming, and his entire crew is so welcoming. And, you know, the musicians I play with, they're incredible. And so they had some common friends, some mutual friends on his crew as well. And so it sort of gelled together very well. But he was just supportive of the project as well, too. And so it was inspiring, though, to perform and then to watch him do his thing every night, you know, with the lights and the setup and his charisma. So it was inspiring for that reason, and also because his audiences are so diverse. You know, it's people, every age group, every walk of life. Like, for us as artists, that's what we strive for, is to cross demographics and genres like that. And he does it, you know, with ease. So it was inspirational.
Awesome. Let's talk about your sound, because you've been described as a lot of things. One in particular, a modern woman with a retro sound. Is that how you feel?
Yeah, I guess so. I would say that, definitely. I mean, you know, people ask me about my style, and I like to say, okay, I was established in the 50s, dragged through the decades, and picked up a few things on the way, and then just dropped me here. So, I mean, I'm very much a modern person. I like the sounds, certain sounds of today as well too. I don't like to be limited, so I'm inspired by yesteryear, but I like mixing it with things that are now and things that are current. So
What artists influence you?
oh gosh, there's so many. I feel like I have to narrow this down more, but I mean, Billie Holiday is definitely a number one for me, and Nina Simone, Ella Fitzgerald, Dinah Washington, like those voices are incredible. On down to I like very sort of stand out seminal voices, Aretha Franklin, Etta James, on down to Lauryn Hill and Erykah Badu, and even Janis Joplin, her tone and her rasp and everything, just to Amy Winehouse. And so it just is like all of those singers with very interesting,
Powerful vocals. Too.
powerful kind of jazz blues influenced vocals. That's what I listen to.
Yeah. How do you listen to music? Are you vinyl, digital? What do you prefer to listen to music? Or what format?
I like listening to vinyl, but I could never afford a record player before. So, I mean, I'm pretty simple, I don't have to go all out of my way to be, I love listening to vinyl. I love the texture of vinyl, the sound, the crack, it's wonderful. But when I'm discovering and I want to just listen to something, the same way anybody else would, I'm on the iTunes and the Apple, music, or I still listen to CDs. Apparently I'm old for listening to CDs. I didn't realize that, so okay. But, nothing over, I'm not just like, I only ever listen to vinyl. Like, no, I listen to everything. Whenever I can absorb music, I do.
I've noticed that when you are speaking to fans, whether it's social media or interviews or whatnot, you call them family. Like, hey family, here's what's going on. What's the reason behind that?
I think, first of all, I believe that we are all one family. We are all interconnected, and we are all a body working together. You know what I mean? And we're dependent on each other. So, I mean, I think the whole, it's good to be independent in things that you do, but we're interdependent, and that's how we have to be. You know what I mean? And so, and I think that pertains to each other's career, even my music career. I couldn't do what I do unless they were absorbing it and loving it and supporting and doing those things. And so, to me, I feel like it takes a village. It takes an entire, city, nation of people to make something like this work and to make. So, I guess that's how I look at it, and that's why I call them family, because I consider them family. They're a necessary part of everything. I don't just do this on my own, so.
Yeah. I think it's probably a testament to you and what your aura is, because when we walked in to start shooting this piece, you and your crew members are laughing, getting along. I mean, that's like a whole nother family.
Yeah, we have to just do more working than laughing. If we could get that balance right, then we'll be okay. No, it has to be fun. And I miss them, we've been rehearsing the last 2 days, but before that I hadn't seen them, most of them, in almost like 2 months, and I'm like, I miss my guys so much. So, I enjoy it, and we're fortunate, to be able to say that we do enjoy, what we do.
Well, it has been a pleasure having you on the
thank
show.
You. Likewise.
Best of luck with your Grammy nominations.
Thank you very much.
Regardless, we're big fans.
Thank you. Likewise.
I mean, I could sit here and talk to you forever, but I want to be cognizant of the time here.
I know, this is cool. I feel like, we're having the same conversation. We just sat up straighter. You know what I mean? Right. As soon as the cameras go down, we were like, so that time when we were Right, it was the same thing. It was casual. It was nice, but it was up here. You know what I mean? Right, exactly. My back was like, come on, give me a break. I'm like, no.
He is awesome.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. Seriously, thank you so much. I know you can't move.